Well, yeah, first of all, my name is Jose Castillo. I'm an LARP organizer from Spain that has been doing LARPs now for like 18 years. And I work alone and with Somnia, an organization called Somnia. And yes, this is a presentation about one of our LARPs in a sense, but also about the road we discovered with it and a kind of LARP we encounter by accident and how we learn about it. So, yes, this is a presentation about urban LARP and along the road to Niria. Well, many years ago, I think like 11 years ago, we wanted to do a LARP about folk tales in our normal reality. And yes, we wanted to find a really nice forest for it and do something magical. The problem is that I'm from the south of Spain. And in the south of Spain, there are a lot of deserts, but there are not many magical forests, like in the center of Europe. And we were looking for it and looking for so long. And the idea was working, we were preparing the idea and we could not find where to do it. So we were completely like we were going to throw away the project when we had the idea of doing it in an urban setting. Let's do a prequel in an urban setting while we prepare it for the grand finale or the proper LARP, which will be in a forest. And this, by chance, allow us to discover what is an urban LARP. So first of all, we have to think about urban LARPs in a way that our cities we try not to play there. It's a city is something we try to avoid. We try to escape from. So we are always trying to find beautiful spots. I said forest, deserts, a castle, anything but a city, because cities are ugly. Cities are terrible. Cities are something we basically despise because you can basically go to a room somewhere, you can rent a place, but the city is something you will not use. But at the same time, you have to think that cities are full of mysteries and legends. They have restaurants, bars, which are amazing, which is basically something we love, something that represents us in such a way, full of corners which are incredible, that give information about our civilization, about everything we are. And it's a pity that those spaces, this incredible place, we are losing it. It's something that is going away, and it's such a pity. And then, can we do something to reclaim this space? Can we make cement and and stone and roads and small streets our own and reclaim it for LARP? And that's what we encounter. So in the old days, I don't know how was in Czech, but in Spain it was really typical, or vampire LARPs, which were in front of the cathedrals. Cathedrals are monuments that people go pay tickets and travel thousands of kilometers just to see. It's incredible places. So we were in front of an incredible setting that we were not even aware of them, that it was there. So we were doing our LARPs in front of this incredible cathedral. And yes, we were, the cathedral is this small alley nearby is that, and everything was used but not used, because you try to not take full responsibility for what you have around you. You try to imagine and to evade it. And yes, this is the Elysium, this is the small part, and at the end, you are really not using the city around you. Yeah. And that is basically, maybe I think, the origin in a way of urban LARPs, in my opinion, because of course you had Killer way in the 90s, but at the same time, Killer, I think you didn't have much of a character. And the reason why I cannot tell you where the origin of urban LARP is because I could not find it. I have been searching about it, a lot of information, and I could not find almost anything about urban LARP. It's something that we have kicked out of our history in a way. Yes, there were some time ago. Some time ago, we used to play in the cities. Yes, there is some people who still do it, but that in a way is something we have forgotten or we don't talk much about. So it's a big pity. So what is an urban LARP? First of all, because again, since I found no information, I don't have a definition. So I had to make my own. So what I define as an urban LARP is a LARP that takes place and makes use of an urban environment. Okay? And within this definition, I find two possibilities. We could talk about naturalist, symbolic, 360, but I prefer other definition I created myself, which is partial and total. What is partial and total? Partial is what I said earlier about these vampire LARPs, where you have a small part of the city, you use it as much as you can, but at the end you have to imagine things. Like when you are walking a distance, you are playing that you are walking this distance. You have to imagine that this thing behind you is, I don't know, an incredible club or anything, but you don't immerse in the city completely. While a total LARP is something completely different. Because in a total LARP, so total urban LARP, you are taking the totality of the city, the whole city, and you are using it. So the city is not something that you try, that's something you have any option but to use. The city is the main focus, is your setting, is your background, is what you use, and is what enhances your LARP. And yeah, the thing is that the urban LARP is a great thing, but it's completely different. Somebody who has not organized or plays this kind of urban LARPs cannot understand how different it is. And that's why I also want to explain you and try to teach you or to show you, because of my experience, because I want to enhance the number of LARPs, the urban LARPs out there, and I want people not doing the same mistakes I did. So, sorry. I want to talk about the beginning of my road. So it was 2010, and I said we had this idea of this urban LARP, sorry, this LARP we are going to do, which will take place in the city because we don't have any other option, and so on and so on and so on. And then we don't really know what, we started doing it, but we take it as any other LARP. And that was complicated. I will not say it was a disaster. It was really interesting. It had great moments, and I'm really happy for it. But at the same time, we, in that moment, already had several years of experience organizing weekend LARPs on our backs, and some of them with crazy logistics, and we were not prepared for that. It was completely different. It was such a change. We did it in Granada. I don't know if any of you knows Granada. For me, it's one of my favorite cities in the world. It's freaking incredible. And there were so many localizations which were great, but at the same time, the distances, how all the people were, so far away from each other, like players getting lost. It was really, really, really complicated. And at the same time, it was something which had this kind of feeling incredible. And like it was different. Then we did again a second run in Valencia, which worked pretty well as well. Again, different lessons, different problems. And then we finally found our forest and we did the LARP. And the LARP in the forest was okay. It was a good LARP. But I could feel that it was not the other. Like the other, with all its problems or complications, it was something special. You could feel it. And this forest was a LARP. It was good. But it was not these two LARPs inside the city, which was completely different. So some years ago, I decided I wanted to come back to it And I had the luck that basically I lost all the information from all those previous larps. So I rewrote it from scratch. And I did a first run in Vienna. Then this September, so last year, I did a run in Krakow. And next September, well, August and September, I have two runs that will take place in Spain, in Salamanca, which is north of Madrid, which is a beautiful city. And yeah, so this mistake, which was doing it inside the city, was think I don't know, was a mistake. Yes, was an accident, and it showed me one of my favorite larps in the world and one of my favorite ways of doing larp. And that's what I want to teach you. So first of all, challenges and benefits. That's because really these larps are quite different in many aspects. So first of all, cities are huge. They cover a lot of space, and they are full of small corners and different. They are basically like a maze out of concrete. And you basically, if you think a forest is big, you don't know how big a city it is. That's really a different level. Then, of course, in the cities, there is people. There is a lot of strangers around you with their own lives, and you should not disturb them. Next, civilization has its own rules and taboos, and during our LARPs, we rent our spaces far away from them so we can go around it and, in a way, overcome this problem. But you are in a city, so that's something else. Especially for scenes, because we love doing our big scenes where you are going to do them. Then there is also these kind of things like public transport, which is a great tool for moving. But how are you going to play inside a tram, which is terrible, or in the U-Bahn, sorry, metro, or how are you going to play there? Yeah. Of course, then there is a pro, which is really big, which is that you don't need food. Basically, there are restaurants everywhere, so you don't need to care about that. So that's a small pro, but at the same time, people don't know where to go. I don't know. In each city, there are like great restaurants, and there are places which are tourist traps. So you have to be really careful. Also, you need people to maybe go to it in close by so they can talk and they can play together. And yeah, so all those things combined make this quite complicated. So yeah, let's then try to work with the solutions, because there are many solutions to that. Okay, so first I want to talk about Niria, Vienna. So in Vienna is a huge city. Vienna is so big, but has one of the best public transports in the world. It's incredible. I live here, and it's out of this world. So let's use it. So let's each included in the price of the LARP, there was a ticket for the public transport, and also we did workshops in which we taught people how to play inside the U-Bahn, sorry, the metro or the tram, or we basically taught people like this is one more space, and suddenly this place, which is so gray, so day by is your daily life, this place you enter at 8 in the morning to go to work, and then you hate because it's everybody's angry and whatever. It becomes like a magical spot, like small place where people get closed for some time and they can play together, and it works really well. Also, it allows you to move. Then the next thing we did is that we divided the city in small zones that could be moved side to side in 20-30 minutes, in this case with public transport. And that it's really good. Apart from that, I want to show you a map. This map is with the zones we told you. This is the one for Krakow, in fact. And you have all the restaurants, you have the flats. The flats are these ones. So you have the flats, you have the restaurants, cafeterias, the zones in which you are playing. And with that, we managed to, reduce the space. Also, if I don't know if you realize, but the flats are done in a way that they cover most of the zones we want, because the flats are where the places where we did our scenes. So how did we manage to avoid this public eye? So first of all, people don't care about you in the cities. So low-key things, nobody cares. Also, there are a lot of spots which is like, like small corners or small, like there are so many, for sure, in your city, such amazing places which are incredible, and there is no tourist at all there. And then you basically go there and you can do a scene and nobody will care. But for bigger scenes, of course, we had the flats. Plus, on the last night, we rented here a beautiful studio for tango, which basically allow us to do a grand finale and have everybody together and finish in a proper way. So at the end, you need to rent spaces in a certain distance so people can use them. Now, in this time, we had problems. Basically, people liked it so much and used it so much that they were curious to use them. So for Salamanca, we will even rent more spaces. So we will have, apart from the flats, which we will have more flats, we will rent some studios that will be during the duration of the whole LARP. And that's the way we are going to use it. More things. You can get lost and you don't know who is playing, and you don't know if somebody is playing in that moment or had a problem. So also why character is talking with somebody who is not part of the LARP, and not, sorry, with a person which is not part of LARP, and not with, but you only talk with certain people, you have an excuse for that. So for that, I don't know if you see it here, we had these pins. So basically it's this symbol of the wolf that we gave to all participants. And if you had that pin, you were part of, in this case, it's part of Niria, it's something magical, so it's diegetic and extra diegetic. So basically there are reasons why you talk with somebody. It's basically you don't know that person, but this person has the same symbol you have that you cannot take off. So there is a reason why to talk with them. So we have a way of helping people engage. And why you don't talk to others? Because they don't have the symbol. So that's a way of avoiding these kind of problems. And another thing we had, and that's technology is amazing, it's that we have Slack. So we created this Slack. This is a LARP in which basically in a way you play in two different levels. So you have your Slack channels, and then with that you can talk with others. So you have how to talk before and after the LARP, the relevant conversations. This is if there is any problem, you have a safe space where you can talk. Hey, I'm sorry, these people I don't like nearby and I don't feel safe. Please come pick me up. This is if you want to share with everybody something that you did, but you don't want, your character will never do it. So it's a way of sharing your secrets. This is the common chat, and this was the chat hidden for the organizers. With that, we had basically two levels of LARP, and it was working amazingly. There is another thing, player offered, and we will do for Salamanca. In fact, it was a Czech player that told us that basically we will give optional to install a tracing program in your mobile phone, so we can know each other, we know where the others are all the time, so you can never get lost. It's not something to look all the time, but we as an organizer, we can catch you, and the participants, if they get lost, they know where everybody is. Like you cheat a little bit, that's okay. Also, we will give some excuse why it works. And yes, and those were mostly of the kind of problems. So yes, of course, violence is forbidden outside of the flats, because, we already had an incident in the old times in Granada, and we don't want to repeat it. So that's something done. And yeah, we also have ways, in this case, it's a magical LARP, to avoid almost violence. So violence is almost not necessary. And with that, you can really, fix these issues. So, in conclusions, uh, for many years we have felt exiled from cities. Like city was something ugly. It was something that has it was devoured of fantasy. It was as a place which is utilitarian that you use for work, maybe to have fun with friends, but it's something that could never fit for a LARP. But that's false. And you can discover with LARP the magic in your cities. So please, let's not be afraid of reviving our streets to treat it as one more place where fantasy takes place. Yeah, and I think that urban LARPs shall return. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for listening to me. If you want to reach me, this is me, José Zuell, in Facebook. Well, and this is my private page where I publish some of my short LARPs. In the future, I would like to publish the Niria, but that's a long way still. And this is the organization that did the LARP, Somnia. If you want to check it out, and you can also find us in Facebook. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jose, that you are with us. It was very interesting, and I am glad that I can hear you and hear the talk. Um, we, uh, we have some questions on Slido. So the question is, sometimes people refuse to install Slack on their phones. How did you deal with that? Did you have any good arguments to persuade them?
Okay. It's in the design document. So in the same design document, when you sign to this LARP, there is the information that you need to use Slack. If you are not going to, basically we have, this is the model of mobile phone you need to have. This is the version of Android or iOS you need to have. Without that, we are sorry, you cannot play this LARP. Why? You could play it without Slack, yes, but this is LARP with 2 dimensions. In the moment you sign up for this LARP, you are agreeing with Slack. If your phone breaks, because that happened one time, we have phones that we can lend you. And we have additional phones for this kind of problems. But this is a LARP that needs a phone because we are in the city. I need to be able to contact you fast. It's for security reasons, for play reasons. So we do not allow that. That's basically how we do it. If somebody refuses afterwards, then basically you give them the money back and then you get somebody else. Because again, you can talk with them, but at the end, when you go to a LARP and you accept certain things, I see the use of technology as one more thing you need to accept.
Okay, thank you. The second question is, any encounters with the police?
The police. No, we never had ever a problem with the police. In fact, you need to remember people LARP from outside is people talking. It's not that strange. So we never had a problem with the police. The closer we were to having a problem is what I said in Granada in the old days. We're talking 2010, and there they decided to start like a fight in the middle of a kebab. The kebab owner jumped the counter to help them. Then they stopped and told them, "Hey, sorry, this is just a play. We are doing an impro thingy, and so you can always use the impro card, and we are doing an impro, and then you leave." But the road I took is, please don't engage, please don't create any kind of problem, no fighting, no shouting to a certain degree, because if you see 2 people shouting in the street for 5 seconds, you're not going to call the police. If you see them half an hour fighting, of course, police is going to come. So for that you have to flat. So what we did is, if you start doing fight to a certain degree, just stop it, you separate, you do like, I will see you later, you go, and then you meet in a flat, and then you continue there. And if the police comes, of course, you need somebody who can speak the language. So basically, I speak Polish, and some other of the people in the organization spoke Polish. or I speak also German, and in Spain, of course, I speak Spanish. So with those things, you can have people who can talk them out, and I think the police will not care. And also, we don't have any weapons, of course. All phone weapons were hidden inside the flats, and when you left the flat, you left the weapon, because we talk that they are normal people, and normal people don't carry knives around. So basically, that's how we try to make it safe, so have zero problems with the police.